So now that you have a good understanding of all the materials we're going to be using, it's time to start work on an actual project. So I have printed off the pattern for my folk floral rug, and I'm going to assemble it and show you how to trace this onto your monk's cloth. So if the rug was printed at full size, it'd be way too big for your printer. So this has been formatted into 8.5 by 11s so that you can print it on your home printer. And what we're gonna do is assemble it in rows. So the first row is A through 4, and then B through 4, C, and then all the way to D. So what you're gonna do is just start lining up those pieces, and I like to fold right to the edge of the pattern line. And then we're gonna match those up. Use a little bit of tape, and if it's not perfectly lined, that's okay. And I'm going to do that for this entire first row and second row, and then we'll get all of that taped together. So now I have my pattern completely taped together, and when you look at mine, you'd see that some of the lines don't perfectly match up, and that is okay because Punch Needle is extremely forgiving. So as long as the gist of the pattern is there, you'll be able to kind of fudge those lines and straighten things out. I'm going to trace this now, and before I do, I'm actually just going to tape this to my table so that it doesn't move. And another important thing to note when you are tracing your pattern is that your monk's cloth needs to have at least a 3 to 4 inch margin all the way around the edge. You do not want to line that pattern up in the corner with an inch to spare. Give yourself plenty of room because remember, monk's cloth unravels, and if it unravels into your stitches, there's not much you can do to save it. So we always want to leave a little bit more instead of giving yourself a small margin for error. I have a piece of monk's cloth that is bigger than my pattern, so I'm going to lay that out, and I'm thinking this should be dark enough that I can see the lines without having to get out my light box. But if you cannot see your trace lines through the fabric, couple of options. First, you could tape your pattern to a window or use a light box. I have also found that tracing at night with a super bright light overhead actually works really well for seeing the lines. So I'm going to play around with this and start tracing. I'm going to use a ruler to draw the edges nice and straight, and then I'm going to fill in the interior. So now that we've got this traced, let's get it stretched on the gripper frame and go over some punching techniques.